We have, hey, it sounded kind of like he was being a smarty, but he's really not because we do often get musicians and singers,
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do.
and we always
How long you guys been doing the podcast?
Almost a year. It'll be a year next month.
That's awesome.
You're about what, 80 or 90 now, huh?
Yeah, we're about a 84, 85 podcasts in. All right, it's time for Yogi and the BeachMan. Hi, I'm Jim the Yogi.
And I'm Rick Beach the BeachMan.
We're two Michigan transplants now living in Southwest Florida.
In fact, we're cousins born in 1964, just a month apart.
I like to meditate.
And I like to play bass in a band.
I'm into chanting Om.
And I'm into throwing down some classic rock.
But together, we're on a mission
to promote people that are helping other people.
We want to make the world a better place.
One conversation at a time.
So sit back,
turn up the volume,
and get ready to laugh.
Because we like to have fun
while we spread the love.
Interviewing lovely people. Yes, we have fun.
I switched my career about 3 years ago when yoga pretty much saved me a little.
Nice.
Or a lot. But I was 25 years in Catholic education. I did health, a PE teacher, and then I was an athletic director, an activities director. And then I was doing a lot in the admin roles and realized I was doing a lot of people's jobs. So I said, that's enough.
Sure. Welcome to this week's episode of Yogi and the BeachMan. Today we are with Michell Llovet. She's a yoga teacher and health coach, the owner of Mindful Movements for Life. Michelle, welcome to the show. I'm Jim the Yogi.
And I'm
Hi,
Rick.
Jim.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Rick. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, we're doing good.
You look awful
Good.
smiley. I like your energy.
I'm a happy person.
Right out of the gate.
Shiny.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So where are you coming from today? Where are you at?
I'm in Pembroke Pines, Florida. So a little bit like West Fort Lauderdale area.
Okay. Very nice.
Yeah.
I like visiting over there. But
yeah, it is a lot of traffic.
Brutal.
Mm-hmm.
I do look, I'm always kind of looking a little bit North Florida just to see if something pops up because it is a little busy down here.
Over here on the West Coast,
Florida.
it's normal seasonal. It's not, but it's not.
Yeah, we're always,
it's just always crazy.
Always crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get the snowbirds and it kind of dies out. It's not bad.
Yeah, we have always crazy, and then we have always crazy with the snowbirds.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a whole different,
I spent half the day driving around Sarasota yesterday, and I'm like, there's an amazing lack of traffic because I hate going to Sarasota. I hate going to Fort Myers. I just like it in our little Charlotte County area here on the Gulf of America. And
nice.
I just like, I like it here, this little pocket of nothingness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of quiet here because we're about 40 minutes to any beaches. So it's not heavily popular. Yeah, it's much calmer.
Yeah.
It's more of a fishing town than anything
Yeah, we're
else.
right on Charlotte Harbor, so.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a big fishing town.
Yeah, we go up that way and we go to, what is the island? Little Gasparilla.
Oh, Boca Grande.
You ever been there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love it. It's such
That's probably our closest beach.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, that one I love because you can't have cars on it. We take a little ferry over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and just relax through the whole week. Usually bring the food ahead of time, like freeze up some stuff in a big cooler, bring it over, and not have to worry the whole week about cooking or anything.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I haven't been over there since the hurricanes.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know what it looks like now.
I've been to Boca. It's not.
Well, what she's talking about is Little Palm Island, just north of there that you can only get to by boat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just north of Boca Grande.
Okay. Very
but
cool.
It's still just awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that place is a lot. Since you can only get there by boat, it's very exclusive and secluded.
Very secluded. They did like a special on the Travel Channel a few years back, and everyone that regularly goes were like, "No, don't post it." And I'd say for about 3 years before COVID hit, it got busy after that, which is beautiful for the island and the people that rent their homes. But when you're used to it being really calm and like 7 people on the entire beach the whole day, but we still head over there. We like it a lot.
Yeah, it really depends on what time of year too.
Yeah,
summertime at the beaches to me is just
amazing. No. Yeah, well, over there, summertime there is where you don't want to go because there's so many mosquitoes.
Oh, that's
because it's a tiny island and all that. Yeah. So after like spring break, there's like a 3-month window that it's not recommended because you got to be inside by 6 o'clock.
Oh, for sure.
Mm.
No,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about like when I years ago, I don't do this anymore. I really should get back. I would get up on Sunday mornings at 4:30,
Nice.
take a couple fishing poles, drive out to Boca Grande or Englewood Beach or any of the just awesome beaches here and just enjoyed the
Living.
sunrise at the
Yeah.
on the Gulf. It's cool.
Yeah, when you say sunrise, sunrise is how I started into my yoga. Like when COVID was going on and they closed the beaches, I was going through some pain with my neck, and I opened up a Instagram page called Sunrises to Sunsets. And I said, I'm going to try to gather as many as I can. Well, what are you going to do with all that dead time we had? And so that's where I started. And then I started doing yoga with my sunrises, and then just kept leading me towards what I'm doing.
Well, tell us about what you're doing.
Oh, what I'm doing is I opened up a business 2.5 years ago called Mindful Movements for Life. At the time, it was during COVID, and the stress was high with work because we had to redo everything in education. So doing our jobs went from, our regular job to doing it 5 different ways to do the same thing, not even as good as what it could have been. And it was a lot. So, stress levels were high. And at the same time, I had an injury that kept coming back up. And then the inflammation from the stress, the actual injury. And I went into the ER because one day my blood pressure shot up to like 170 over 110. And my blood pressure is usually like 110 over 60. And I was in so much pain, but I'm such I just keep pushing type of person that I was like, no, I got this. No problem. I can do it. And I was going up the stairs and my whole body just stopped on me. And I went to the ER.
What do you mean your whole body stopped?
I couldn't, my legs weren't like, nothing I felt like I was about to pass out.
Okay. And when was this?
This was 3 years ago. And I got to the ER. They checked me out. I had like even a feeling on my tongue. I thought I was having a stroke. I was like, am I having a stroke?
Had you had the COVID vaccines?
No, definitely no. So they said, we're looking at it. You have a lot of inflammation here. We're going to get an MRI order for you. It's not going to be today. And they did all the tests to, as if I were having a stroke. And they said, do you think it's your pain? I think the fact that you deal with this pain, and I don't like to take pain medication. I lost a sister to a drug overdose. So I'm very cautious with medicine, especially a pain medicine. You see everyone starts with it and then they are dependent upon it. So they got me into a new neurologist because my old neurologist, he had said, oh, you got an extra bone growing there. Let's operate. And I was like, you haven't asked me to do physical therapy. You didn't ask me to do anything.
No.
Yeah.
I got a bill to pay. Let me cut you open.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm like,
you must have had good insurance.
I did then. I did then.
There you
now
go.
as a small business owner, I definitely have like whatever it is. But
if you had shitty insurance, so you hit no, we're good here. Go see this massage therapist.
So I went to that other neurologist. He was great. He listened to me. He was like, why don't you try physical therapy? And I really think you should go to yoga. It really helps with the joints and stuff. I know you're used to a certain workout. Like I was used to very, very athletic workouts. I played college softball, so I was used to really just going at my workouts, and my body couldn't do it anymore. And my age and my hormones, I couldn't do what I did before. And I had to really relearn, just how to take care of myself right again, especially physically.
How old, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it's okay. I was 47 at the time. I'm now 50.
Okay.
And after I left that appointment, and then I did go to the yoga the first time, and I met a wonderful yogi named Miriam, and she would do yoga on the beach in Hollywood, which I was like, I'm not gonna be able to keep doing this. It's not gonna fit in my schedule, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait, you can't fit yourself in your own schedule.
Funny how that works.
Yeah. And that hit me really hard. And I was like, you know what? And I sat with my family. I had like a good family meeting. I said, listen, I'm going to be going to this yoga class 2 days a week. So I need everyone in the family to kind of pick up some of my slack. And, I had 2 teenagers at the time. They're looking at me like, and then I showed them my doctor stuff, and I showed them how I felt that day. I said, I don't want to feel like this again. And I can almost get sad because it was a scary moment for me.
Yeah. So what were the doctors saying was wrong? A bulging disc or?
Spinal stenosis, cervical spinal
Okay.
stenosis.
Okay.
And I had a car accident and I also had a body surfing accident. So we're not sure which one because I also didn't have the time after both of those to go to the hospital because I had work stuff to do. And I was like, oh no, it's not that bad. I'm not that bad. It's no big deal. So I didn't go and check in on myself. And so I have a bone growing between my C3 and my C4 that was narrowing my spinal cavity.
Okay.
And my pinky wouldn't go in. Like I couldn't get my pinky in, and then I started losing grip on my arm. And then my arm was really weak. So my what is this called? There's a nerve, I can't think of it right now, but it was compromised. I'll think of it before the end of this show. But my radial ulnar nerve. So it comes from here, it's up in there, it came down, and it was being compromised. It was really frustrating, and I started to get occipital neuralgia too on this side because of all this. I would get like a nugget right here. It would just kind of come like this because of all the tensing. So that's why he was like, let's get you your, calming, maybe your stress too, and let's see where you can make some changes, emotional stress, and then let's work on that physical stress in your body. And I said, okay, let's do it.
I was going to come back to that, and you just came back to, hey, what that doc said. And, we sit here, we have a lot of guests on. We talked earlier, like close to 90 podcasts. And all of us have had our experience with the medical community, the way it is now, big medicine.
Yeah.
And this is the very first time I've heard anyone say, I had a doctor say,
I know.
physical therapy, yoga, let's look at root causes.
I was
the very first time.
And not just, hey, take this pill.
Yeah. Well, I did have the first one. The first one did give me the pill.
Okay.
The neurologist before this, and where I wasn't as bad as I was, he gave me a pill. I told him after 2 months, I said, I don't think this is working with my body. I feel like I'm gaining weight. I feel like I take it and I wake up at 3:00 in the morning every time once it wears off, and I feel worse.
What did he give you? Cortisol? Or?
He gave me meloxicam.
Okay.
And then Mobic.
Sure.
I think it's Mobic is another name for it. It didn't work with me. And I gained weight. Like I was already, I had my 30 pounds, like 15 from each kid on me for a while. And I would carry it okay, knowing I want to get rid of this. I want to get rid of this. And then I took that medicine. I gained another 25 pounds in 2 months.
Wow.
And I was just like, and that doctor didn't want to hear anything I had to say. Nothing. And he's like, it's not the medicine. And I said, well, it's the only thing I'm doing different.
Of course not.
Yeah,
of course not.
It's not, so I was very happy that I got rid of that. And he actually moved. So it kind of worked in my favor because I don't know if I would have gone against him. In all honesty, you believe and you hope that they're going to do the right thing that's right for you. But sometimes they don't. There's got so many patients in a day. They're checking boxes. It's hard. So like, I wouldn't want to be a doctor because I don't know if I'd be good or not. It's a lot.
Yeah,
but
I think I speak for Jim that, we're the ultimate cynics when it comes to the medical community. So it's kind of refreshing to hear.
Yeah.
But
it was great.
Doc.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily their fault. They're boxed into a standard of care. And if they go outside the regular standard method of care, then they're liable to lawsuits. So it's
I don't want to be in their position.
And it's medicine by recipes and flowcharts.
Yeah, but I want to ask you a question about that bone growth. Is this something that's grown off of C3 or C4, or just a completely
between it?
But from one of them, or just
I think they say that it's like little things break off and they become osteobites or osteo something.
All right.
And it just keeps, like, I think calcium and mineral deposits keep attaching to it, so they grow.
Okay.
And his thought was he'll go in, clean that out. Because they go in through your neck. Oh. My friend had it done. She's worse.
Yeah.
She's now, she did that, and then it didn't work right away, so they went back in and put some rods, and now she can't even move.
Yeah. Fuse it all together. Great.
I now I've got all the way to the left, like chin goes beyond. To the right, it takes work, but I'm right. That's it. That's all I got. And I do yoga every day. I'm doing the things, but I am happy with that. Because I was to where if I just turned, it hurt. I had my head in this little device that would hang over the door frame. to elongate my spine and
Traction.
open up. Traction. Yep.
Yeah.
And, I'm here praying no one opens the door. Yeah. And we went on a
really.
vacation one time, and it was like a hotel with 3 families together, but we had like 2 condos together. There was a door between them, and that was the only door that seemed to work. And I'm trying to lock both sides and praying that all these kids running around aren't going to pull my neck off.
Yeah.
But I look back at it all, and I mean, I was so inflamed. I was so puffy. The medicine, the sadness. I wasn't eating the right things at the time. Like it was right after COVID. We were just all just trying to get through and be happy in some way or shape or another. And also at the time too, I was regularly like I would have 2 glasses of wine a week. When I was in my highest pain, I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're having like 4 to 6 glasses of wine a week. That's not like you,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're trying to
and
deal with it.
yeah, and I had to like do a lot of major checking, and I think the only way I was able to see those things was once I went to yoga. Once I stopped and gave myself that time and space, and it really calmed my down enough. And in that, like in Shavasana, when it's time to just like receive, things would come to me. It was like, you need to work on this, and it helped me really break it down instead of like, I know what I got to do, but how can I break it down little by little and really achieve it?
Yeah.
And my intentions in the beginning of class would be like, please help me see, what's best for my health path. So I would just be very open. It was all about health and clarity, but I just knew I needed to receive what's next and how to do it, and am I making the right choices? And I'm going to have to say, I'm really proud and happy that I did it, because from that point till now, I've lost, and I set a goal. Once I was really into it, I said, all right, I'm going to keep this yoga going up, and I'm going to, get back in the gym. And then I joined a gym again because I would work out at school. I was like, oh, we have a gym here. It's free. But I wasn't removing myself from the stressors. Even though I loved what I did, I needed to get out of there. And I needed to have some space to decompress without people asking me questions. Because even working out, I'd have kids coming and asking me a question, coaches asking me a question. I was like, can't I just work out? But no, not if you're in schools. They're going to, you're used to it. So I told myself I'm going to get fit by 50. And it meant more than just fitness. I put the goal of emotionally fit, financially fit, spiritually fit. And I wanted all of it with my physical fitness too. So
Very good.
yeah, and I started not with just physical. I started with emotional. I worked with this Noom app. I don't know if you guys ever heard that.
Yeah.
It's like a little app that helps you eat better. But when you're trying to lose weight and get healthy again, like it's more than just macros and calories in and out. Emotionally, we choose the higher macro or we choose the poor foods. So the Noom app helps you like look through it and see, where's your pitfalls? And it asks you lots of questions and makes you go through little activities. And that helped me really see some of my weak spots. And, having that conversation with your ego, that's always important too, because you think, oh, I got this. I'm doing fine. I eat healthy. If you eat healthy and you can't really fit it all the time, then you're not eating healthy, And I'm not saying 90% of the time. So you're like, oh, I eat healthy. I have a salad a day, but then the rest of the day you're eating junk, or you're, snacking and snacking and snacking. It's not eating healthy.
No, it
So
has
I
to
had
be
to
the
really
opposite. It has to be
have
a
that.
90% good stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
10%.
10% moments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every couple of days maybe, but that at the most.
Yeah. So I switched it all up, and it led me to do that, what I did. And then as I got into the yoga a little more, I said, I think I'm going to do my certification. They were doing online certifications at the time because no one could do schools. And I said, it's not really the way I would want to do this, but I'm going to do it. And with the help of the Yogi at the beach. So I had a physical mentor, that was helping me through it. And it worked out really good. And she helped a lot. But suddenly out of nowhere, she passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really hard. She was only, I think, 53.
Wow.
And she was in very good health. She just got back from a nice trip that she had wanted to go to. She said it was really important. She was on her way to Israel, came back, and within 2 weeks was gone.
Do you know what happened?
She had a brain aneurysm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
How
it was
terrible.
really, really sad. Very good, very, very, very awesome lady in the community. She just had a good spirit to her, good energy. And she came in my life at a really important time. And, like once I was in that yoga class, it made me see I need to be here more. I need to do this for myself. And I had a good, I'd say almost a year where I got to really work with her until that happened. And that was just a shocker. So it really pushed me even faster to get my certification done because I wanted to be able to keep what I was doing up and then be able to hold space like she did for others, especially others that might be going through a physical issue. And that's a lot of the people I work with now are, dealing with something and don't want to go into a studio, where they're not ready yet to go to the studio. They don't feel comfortable in their own skin. So how it's going to be hard for them to be next to a whole bunch of people moving and flowing, maybe their bodies look different at the time. Maybe they're recovering from whatever their accident or issue is. So it's hard for them to go into that atmosphere. So I love being able to go to their home and host the yoga class for them in their own space. And it really makes a big difference. So most of them, my clients are in that style. I do one-on-ones in your home or in a local park. And then I do like a couple fun classes I call, which I have like some yoga on farms. And then I do a goat yoga class by
I
Monday.
love that.
I love the goat yoga class. It is more about the goats than it is about the yoga, 100%. I tell everyone that comes in, I'm like, I give them the talk about the goats and the agro-tourism and all that. And then I'm like, and this is the only yoga class that I'm going to say, please bring your phone in, because they want to take pictures. I know they're not there for the yoga, but it works out really cute. And at the end, we bring out the baby goats and they enjoy them. Yeah, I have fun teaching that.
That's really cool.
So forgive my ignorance. What is goat yoga?
It is yoga in a grass field where goats just walk around while you're doing yoga. And the basis is mostly that, petting an animal helps lower your serotonin, helps you relax. So you're bonding with the animals while you're doing your relaxation.
When they raise your serotonin and lower your cortisol?
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Bring everything up the right way.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
that sounds like fun. You probably get some kids in there too, huh?
Oh yeah, you do. You get a few kids in there.
Yeah.
You get is that a double joke?
Yes.
But I really like it. And that one just came out of nowhere. I was, at home and my friend's like, go on Facebook right now. And she tagged me and the goat farmer had said, if you like goats and you can teach yoga, I need you in the next hour because their yogi was out of town and accidentally they thought they booked him and they didn't. Oh. So I jumped on it right away, called up. I said, I'll be there in 10 minutes. And I got there, rained out, and they still paid me. I was like, I didn't do anything. I cannot take your money. She's like, no, the fact that you saved me. And at least I felt like I wasn't going to have to teach yoga because she's a goat farmer. And she's like, you saved me. So she goes, can you come more often in case he's, that way we have two people. And it worked out. I've been doing it now for a year and a half and I get booked twice a month. 2 classes each day, and it's really enjoyable. And it breaks up my regular yoga vibe,
Yeah. So you don't have a studio where people come, you basically go to their house and teach private lessons.
Yeah, I looked into it at first, but it's just so expensive down here right now.
Anywhere.
So, oh yeah.
Well, Jim had a yoga studio for years.
Yeah.
So he's familiar with the pitfalls.
Oh yeah, I've done that. It's actually still going. I haven't been there and I don't know. I turned it into a nonprofit.
Uh-huh.
And then I put other people on the board eventually and moved away. But it's still going, which is cool. I love that.
That is cool.
Planted the seed and it grows,
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really would have loved a studio. But after I priced it all out, I said, I'm going to be taking out loans.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be teaching my yoga without stress over my head.
Yeah. There's so many taxes you have to pay, regulations.
Yeah, that feeling, I think, of that need to make sure I make money.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want that interfering with what I was doing.
Sure.
And I stepped back because at the time my husband's like, are you sure? We looked at a few spaces. I said, no, I don't feel right about it. I don't think I'm going to be comfortable with the fact that we're going to be owing money. And I know that, with every business, you're going to have to invest a little bit. But I was like, let's see if I can, I don't have a following of people yet. I don't have people that go to my yoga and I'm just going to open a place And I
That's
think
what
a
I
lot
did.
of people make, he's like, yeah,
It was a
I
struggle,
just went
but
all in.
yep.
But I wasn't yet. I was not ready. So I pushed the other way and I started with my first client and had him twice a week. Met him through the gym. He's like, I'm really trying to work on my flexibility. He was 62, fit as a fiddle, but about the size of a dolphin player. Like he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've got some aches and pains, and I did play football in college, and it's really coming at me now. And I'm trying to fix it by exercising, but that's not doing it. So I said, yeah, well, the exercise builds muscle and helps you lose weight. You got to work on your flexibility. So we do yoga and a few, functional movements to help his hips and his back. But then
Excellent.
after I got going with that, I was like, all right, let's see if I can find more people in this type of style. And it's been working out really good for me. So I'm really happy that I
That is
made that
really cool.
switch, because it was a
Yeah.
big switch to be changing your whole career path at the age of, almost 50.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I took a bet
That's
on
what
me.
I did that as well, but I went into nursing in
Oh,
my
yeah?
50s. I went to nursing school. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
In
that
school
is.
with all these young kids. But
Yeah, you got to
how
do
do you
what you got
get
to do.
how do you get your clients?
I use mostly Instagram and Facebook. I
Okay.
do a lot of reels.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's some community pages in the Nextdoor app here. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
always on the peak. I post my stuff once a month in there, but people are always looking for a yoga teacher. You just have to
Mm-hmm.
be, searching with your due diligence when you're going to
Yeah.
people's homes, especially as a woman. Um,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so if I find them through the Facebook app or through Instagram, I do my research first. I look around, make sure before I even make any contact,
Mm-hmm.
and if I feel comfortable that I'm going to do it, then I tell them the options. I reach out and we get on the discussion and see.
Yeah.
And it's been working out, really happy with the clients I have in that aspect. And then in the midst of it, I also, when I started eating better, I worked with the company and I became a health coach through them with Octavia. And that health coach certification has now led me down a few other paths. And a nutritionist reached out to me and she's like, hey, we saw that you lost a whole bunch of weight. We do GLPs and yada, yada. I said, oh, I lost it all naturally. She's like, I know you lost it naturally, but our GLP clients need someone that knows how to change their food.
And what
We
is
can give
GLP?
GLP is glucagon-like peptides. So it's the Mounjaro, the Ozempic, all the things people are
Oh,
using to lose weight.
okay.
So when they reached out, I was like, I'm more of a natural vibe. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
no, we don't want you talking about that part. We want you, while they're taking this medicine, because they don't want to be on it forever, teaching them how to eat better, teaching them
Very
how
cool.
to use their time management skills to schedule and exercise. So that way they can use it, be off of it, get their A1C down, get
Mm-hmm.
off some of their medications and be on with their lives. And
That's a beautiful thing. I love that.
it is like, because at first I was like, no, I don't know about these meds, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a med that they're going to be on for, 6 to 8 months and it gets them off 4 other meds for a lifetime, then I think some of those people need to take that chance if they have failed over and over at weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
So
is that happening? Are those kind of stories, do they exist?
that they get off of that. Yeah. I mean, that their
Really?
A1C goes down, that they get
Well,
off
yeah,
of
well, yeah, but not all. Well, what's the A1C? That's the
Blood
insulin.
your
glucose.
Yeah,
blood
like
It's a
glucose.
3-month
sugar
look
stuff.
at your blood sugar.
Okay. I just wasn't aware that. Well, I'm glad to hear that,
Yeah.
but I'm just once again kind of cynical, and I can't imagine the pharmaceutical companies trying to get them off anything.
I know.
That's why I say it's just really surprising to hear that.
But
Yeah. Well,
this company, is that company that you're talking about, was that a pharmaceutical company?
no, this is a doctor's office.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's through their nutrition department. So the nutritionist governs the program. And then I talk to them about their health.
So it wasn't sanctioned by the
You're right.
by
Big pharma.
pharma.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah. And so this has been my new path and I really enjoy it. It's, I've always been into serving others.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly it was children, serving kids K through 12, trying to teach them how to fall in love with exercise, at least find the exercise that they like, You know, I said, listen, I'm not expecting all of you guys to be able to learn how to dribble a basketball or make a layup or go over and, play baseball. But I am expecting you to find something that you can do 4 times a week that's going to help your heart stay healthy. That's going to help you, get through your stressors. So let's keep working till we find the thing that's for you.
Man, when we were kids, we just got thrown out. We just
Yeah,
got
right?
thrown out the front door. Go figure it out.
I didn't want to be
figure
in
it
the
out.
house.
Go climb a tree. Go
Oh
do
yeah,
this.
don't come back until the porch light's on.
Yeah. When it's
Now
starting to get dark, show up.
Now it's a hard fight now too, because of iPads and all of this stuff.
Right.
Kids and health and fitness is like when I would get 9th graders in about 5, 6, no, maybe about 10 years ago. There's some kids that didn't know how to run.
Isn't that crazy?
9th grade children, they're like, well, I never had to.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? And it's just shocking to me that they were like, no, I really am a gamer. I like to game. I said, that's
Right.
great, but you have to live too. And you can't be doing everything like this. Like, let's get those thumbs open. Let's go out for a little walk,
Mm-hmm.
And it was a struggle in the beginning, like trying to get some of those kids to change up. And it was hard on them because their body has not done it. They were overheating. They were like, no, exercise is bad. I'm like, no, that's part of it. You're in Florida. You're going to overheat a little bit,
Right.
like go get some water, and come back to me and we're going to do another lap. Trust me, but that was getting harder and harder because you're seeing and I watch it because my sister-in-law has kids that are younger, and that iPad is addictive.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely addictive, and getting kids to get off of it is a fight. So I really recommend be very cautious. If there's anyone listening, you got kids, be cautious with that time and let them know that it's a 20-minute window throughout the day.
Yeah,
because
that's the
it's-
wise way to do it. Give them a window. Here's your time to
Yeah,
play on
show
it.
them from the beginning, and as they get older, you can look at your little older. We opened up 2 windows like that.
Mm-hmm.
3 windows, and then cap it, and then teach
Yes.
them. You don't always have to use all 3 windows. You could go for a walk.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
it's sad when I see that just kids at
Oh,
a
yeah.
restaurant and
At the
even
table, you try to
20-something.
take it.
It's
Mm-hmm.
we used to call it, hey, we're just with our kids in front of the TV, and that's the babysitter. But
Right.
now you got this portable 24/7 babysitter.
Yeah.
And
they don't know how to, not saying all. There's a lot of great kids out there still, and there's a lot of
there
parents that are
is.
doing it right.
Yep.
But it's hard to undo some of the wrong, and it's hard to undo it when they're 15, 16, 17.
sure,
and now
yeah.
they're amongst teen, they maybe came from a smaller school and now they're with a high school, and they got to make eye contact. They got to talk to people. They got to
Mhm.
socialize, and they can't do it behind their phone or their iPad.
If they did
Right.
play sports, everybody got a trophy, so they don't know the difference between winning and losing in the real world.
Don't get me going there. Don't get me going
No,
there.
it's so true, and it's so sad. Just the 20-somethings are just so lazy. I have a friend of mine who's. It's funny that you say that about being a gamer, because he got I just heard about this yesterday. He got fired from his job as the assistant manager at a restaurant. I don't know what kind of money he made, but probably enough.
Yeah.
And but he got fired for being late or whatever. Now he's going to be a professional gamer. Now I'm going to start,
good
and I
luck.
guess I suppose I know that there's money in that.
Yeah.
I have zero knowledge
If
of
he's
how it all
good
works,
enough,
but,
then all
but
power to him,
I mean, yeah. Well, when I was
They're probably
22,
looking at me going, "You're going to quit your job and become a yogi?"
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's a little different though. It's not like
Hey,
it's not like say, but you didn't say you were going to go become a professional rugby player.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, and the gaming industry is really hard to break into too.
I can
Mhm.
imagine.
Yeah. The other thing about being on the iPads all the time is, the things that they're getting exposed to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 3 clicks away from some weird stuff.
Yeah.
I used to,
And even some of the kid-friendly stuff, it's like, wow. It's
The kid-friendly stuff, some
a
of
little
it
too much.
Oh, no,
there's
you
so
go-
many examples of what really can be nothing but rated R and adult content being
Yep.
backdoored into these kids shows where 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds are just getting
Yeah.
pounded with some stuff that's really
Mhm.
not of very high moral standards.
Yeah.
No, it's true. because I have a 19, they turned 19 this week, and 21-year-old. And it was a tough time when you were like, nope, we're not going to YouTube. And then I had to show them, like, look, I want to show you why. And I showed them, here's the shows that you like. Yeah, it's My Little Pony. It's all right here. All of a sudden, there's stuff on the side. You click one, it took me to a whole nother range of stuff.
Yeah.
But it was My Little Pony, but it was like a different type. It wasn't the legit My Little Pony. It was some fan fiction stuff. Then it went to another one on the next sidebar was way off. Then it was going into really weird stuff. And I wouldn't click on it to show, but I was like, do you see how 3 clicks can get you into somewhere you can't unsee what you already saw, you know?
And that is all by design.
Oh,
all
yes.
by design.
To keep sucking you into the spiral and doom scrolling you down.
I'm guilty. I love to scroll. And but I think it's just sad to see like these kids that are just constantly.
Yeah, we're adults, so we're able to, regulate it a little better. Even us, you don't realize sometimes you're like, oh, whoa, I was on this for like 15 minutes. Let me get back to what I was actually opening the phone for. We've all been there. You're like, what was I looking for? Why did I even open this phone?
Yeah.
But for a kid, they don't know how to regulate yet. And we're giving them like poison, like, here, take this, and go find out everything.
Yeah.
And then they find things, and then they might not always tell you what they found, and then they're disturbed for a little while and you can't even help them. So it's pretty.
And some kid's not going to have parental controls on his phone, and the 12-year-olds are looking at what they're looking at, what I would have loved to look at if I had a phone when I was 12.
And even if you do, they know how to get around them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure. My gosh.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would be in class and I was like, how did you even get there? Like, we can't even do that in the school. And they tell you.
Every 12-year-old on the planet is more tech savvy than me.
Yeah, they'd tell me because they were so proud of like how cool they were that they did it. I was like, all right, thanks. I was like, all right, they got VPNs, they're doing this, they're doing that. And I'm like,
wow.
Then they come back and like, Miss Llovet, everything's blocked. I'm like, I told you. I was, I didn't ask you just because I thought like, how did you do that? I needed to figure it out. I need you to pay attention to my class,
Yeah.
It's, as a teacher, it was hard with all of that too. You'd have kids trying to game all the time. And we were an iPad school, 1-to-1. The first one ever. So every kid had an iPad, and you're trying to teach, and they're, they want to be the king of Clash of Clan or, Titans or whatever they're playing. So it was work. I would go in on their iMessaging and I'd iMessage to their iPad, like, you'll never be the top of the leaderboard. Just stop and pay attention to your teacher. And they'd look up. They're like, Miss Llovet, everyone saw that, like. It was fun. But
I wasn't aware that even existed in the schools where you could.
Yeah.
I just didn't.
Yeah. Well, when Aaron was in middle school, they gave all the kids a MacBook, and it was a paperless middle school.
Yeah. You load all of the books in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely paperless middle school. They did everything on the MacBook.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, with AI coming in too. Well, it's kind of scary. I'm glad I'm not 20.
I'm glad I don't have young kids.
Or my youngest one's 32. She's a nurse. Jim's a nurse, and but to have I don't know, man. It would be so hard to be raising kids right now. It just would be.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Well, as a health coach,
okay,
what, like, people come to you for, what's a typical example?
It's mostly people that are trying to lose weight or improve their blood tests. Their levels are off, and they're trying to. Ultimately, when we change our food, we change what we're putting in. We usually change the outputs. So I start first by like, just tell me everything. Tell me, what do you eat? What do you do? Are you exercising?
Do you have them do a food journal? Because a lot of people tell you what they eat, but they don't realize what they're actually eating.
Exactly. And that's what I like to call, I joke with them. I'm like, I'll say, I think you had a couple BLTs today. They're like, I didn't eat a BLT. I'm like, I think you did. And they're like, no, I didn't. I know I didn't. I was like, okay, well, bites, licks, and tastes. Did you count those? Because how many times you walk by, if someone's got, let me try some of that. And you have a half of a chicken tender, or your kids didn't finish their pizza. I'll just have the crust. No one ever inputs that in their food log.
Right.
So I said, between your bites, licks, and tastes, I'm sure that you probably got another like 300 calories that you're not counting. And you're like, I don't know why I can't lose weight. I'm in a calorie deficit. But if you're not counting those calories, you're not in a calorie deficit. So it's like trying to get them to be that aware of everything and, showing them step by step. A lot of the times people say, I'm going to change. They get back from the doctor with those test results. And they're like, I'm going to the gym tomorrow. And they get all this food, they put it in the fridge, and they think I'm just going to start eating healthy and I'm work out every day. And then they fail after like maybe a week, or maybe they make it to 2 weeks, but they fail in one area. So they just give up. They're like, me in the gym didn't work out. Nothing happened. I didn't lose any weight.
After 2 weeks?
Oh, so many people quit. So I just try to teach them how to be consistent. And then I try to go one habit at a time. I'm like, stop telling me about your gym stuff. I don't even want to hear it. I just want you to tell me about, let's work on food first. And even before that, I try to go into a little bit of the emotional stuff, not too much. But if I see they've got a lot, I'm like, I really think you should be working with a therapist too. You need to talk to someone.
Yeah.
You got a lot of stress over your head, and it looks like you're an emotional eater and maybe an emotional drinker. So if from what you're showing me of what you've eaten and how you're eating and the times you're eating and the triggers that are getting you there, if I think that they need it, I'll say, please go get a therapist. It's not going to hurt. It's only going to help. It's only going to make you a better person. Or maybe they say you don't even need this. Maybe I'm wrong. But half the time they're like, oh my God, that was the best decision I ever made. But it's hearing someone else tell you, you're not crazy. You just got some stuff to work on, and you're not alone. You're not alone. There's people to help everyone.
Yeah, I think everybody should have a therapist at some point in their life. I mean,
I think so too. Some people might have the fortitude their whole life, and amen to them, but not everyone has it, or we go through certain things, and we need something to turn to that's better to help us get better.
Absolutely.
So I just work like that. Then we do monthly meetings. It matters on like the one through the doctors that I work with. That's a monthly meeting. But when I take someone on as a client for health coaching and we're doing nutrition, it's usually a weekly meeting. And then they have like 3 texts back and forth that it's, ask me a question, because otherwise it's constant. You're all day getting random questions. I give them like an arsenal of things to look through. Say, here's, check here first, do your due diligence, then ask me if you didn't find it. But you got to do your work for you to get better. You can't just keep turning and turning and hoping I'm going to fix everything. You got to do the fixing. I'm just here to kind of point you and steer you and to hold you a little accountable. You got to check in with me, and you'll see people like, oh, I really was trying to delay the meeting. I gained another pound, and I'm like, why? That doesn't matter to me. Like, that's part of life. We're going to gain and lose 3 or 5 pounds here and there, but why are you afraid of the meeting? And she's like, because I didn't want to have to say that I didn't do all the things I was supposed to do. I'm like, how does it feel? You said it. You feel a little better? She's like, yeah, I do actually. I'm like, okay, now let's let all that go and maybe break apart what we did in the past 2 weeks to see where we had some pitfalls and see how we can be better next time.
And what are you encouraging them to eat?
Or not eat?
Or not eat. Yeah.
Okay. I'm encouraging them to increase their protein and from natural foods mostly. I would rather them do natural. Like if they are going to do some of the, protein bars and things like that, if that's how they have to start to try to get their protein, I'll say, okay, let's start. And then we wean them out of it. But I really want them getting, chicken, grass-fed beef, eggs, ground turkey, the leaner, the better, fish. Then it's going into their veggies and showing them the veggies that have higher fiber content that are better for their bodies, and go with those first. And then also go through it, because what agrees with my body doesn't always agree with your body. I might say broccoli, but broccoli is extremely gassy for them. So find another green food. All right. There's lots. And then we jump into the fruits. So I'm eating fruits, finding the ones that work with their body as well. Everyone's different. And increasing their water, getting some electrolytes in. And that's pretty much, just try to eat as clean as they possibly can. When I say clean, that we're shopping the outer aisle mostly at the store. And our ingredient list is like 4 or less. Because all those extra ingredients slow down your metabolism. Your body's trying to figure out what it is. If you can't even pronounce it, what do you think your body's doing? You know, and I'm not saying I never have anything bad, but I'm a lot more cautious. I'm looking at labels, you know, I'm using the Yuka app to try to see, you know, what is it? Why is it bad? Why is it good? And I show them that. I said, look, once you scan it, there's, oh, it got an 84. That's great. But look why. So you can understand more about food and how it helps you or how it harms you.
Yeah, I'm really
And
surprised at how many foods in a health food store like Sprouts gets 0 out of 100 on Yuka.
yeah. Yeah. But people
Almost like
think,
you
oh,
went,
I'm here. It should be good.
yeah, in fact, I went last week and there was a guy in front of me in line checking out. And I'm looking at him. He's probably about my age. I'm guessing he's in his 60s. And he just looks in bad health. His legs look feeble. He's got a big gut. You know, his skin tone's awful. He just did not look healthy at all. But he's eating at Sprouts, right? So
Yeah.
he's probably thinking he's eating right. He has a whole cart of food, not one fruit or vegetable, not one whole food.
Yeah.
It's all packaged stuff, all canned stuff. And I wanted to say something to the guy, but it's like, yeah,
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard.
yeah. I'm sure if I scanned all that stuff with Yuka, you know, you
And you
might
would
have got
probably
some
blow
stuff
his
in the
mind.
30s.
You would
Oh,
blow
yeah.
his mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was happening to me too, because there was things that I thought were totally good. And then I'm looking, I'm like, oh gosh. I
Mm-hmm.
run to my husband, like, can you believe this? And
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And
Yes.
then sometimes there's like different versions of the same. Maybe you're looking at granola. Okay. And which most granolas are loaded with sugar, but then now they're kind of getting the picture and they're trying to help us out and give us some better granolas out there.
Yeah.
So you scan one from this one company and it's got a 30, but then you scan another one from that same company and it's at 80. And you're like, what is the difference? But read, like it tells you why. And then
Right.
click into that red zone and learn more. That's why I tell everyone, I said, listen, just keep learning. Don't just keep looking and asking me, you know, and I'm not the guru. I just am taking the time to pay attention a little more to my body, you know?
Yeah.
And in the midst of all that, like all of it, I quit drinking alcohol too. I was like, well, how am I going to start telling all this food that's better for my body, but I'm still putting in alcohol that is just a pure toxin.
But it sounds like you're only having a couple glasses of wine a week, right?
Yeah, but I just decided no more, you know?
I think I'm probably 5 to 6 years ago now. My max, I was about 208 or 212. And right now I'm 172 and have been that way for a few years. But I mean, and then when I went to my doc and here's more prescriptions, here's more statins, this diuretics for this and high blood pressure. I'm like, man, what am I doing? And I immediately, it was like a light switched. And I'm like, okay, soda's gone, beer gone. And just by soda and beer, that was fast. I dropped 15 pounds in like 3 weeks just by stopping that.
Yeah.
And then just change it. Then you kind of get motivated. And then really, I just went to what you just said.
Yeah.
Just everything. I wasn't crazy at the time, but it's such a learning curve.
Yeah.
And it does get expensive if you now I've moved from that into like the organic stuff and the grass feds and the $5 bunches of broccoli that are as big as a small plate because they're organic. But but it really comes back on you. You're going to spend more at the grocery store to get good, high quality food, but you're going to spend a lot less at the doctor visits, and you're going to feel so much better.
And you're going to most likely stay alive a little longer to appreciate and enjoy, enjoy. It really does make a difference. Like I lost 100 pounds.
Wow.
In
That's
that journey.
incredible.
Yeah.
That's great.
100 pounds. I thought I needed to just lose like 60. And then once I got to the 60, I was like, and I was, oh, you look great. Why would you want to lose more? And I'm like, I'm just keep supporting what I'm doing.
You look
and I'm not like thin. I'm very strong. But I'm proud of that, like that was huge. And it made such a big difference in this whole journey. And I think I give people, like the people I'm helping, a lot of hope because they're like, you wouldn't understand. I was like, did I show you where I was? And I was not, traditionally, I was not a heavy person. I was, strong and fit like this with a lot of muscle, but I was never ever skinny, like a very thin person, but I was always healthy. And it was very hard for me to change like that with the injury and then start gaining weight and not, not being able to answer. And I know like my degree is in this. And I couldn't find the strength to change. I couldn't find the courage either at the time because I wanted the quick fix in a way. Before, not in a like not something bad, but I just wanted to be able to go exercise like I used to do and lose weight. And that's what for years, if I gained some weight, I was, I'm going to go hit a few boot camps hard. I'm going to go running and boom, I'd lose the weight. And then all of a sudden 35, 40, that didn't work anymore. So those
metabolism slows down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is not fun. But I'm really proud of it because during the time when my metabolism slowed down a lot, my hormones are really whack in the middle of perimenopause and menopause, all that stuff, that I was still able to lose weight, shrink the waist, drop the belly fat. So I like that I was able to do it when my clients come, they're like, you don't get it. I'm like, I show them like, no, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
But you got to say, I've had enough. And you got to, keep doing it. And my biggest thing that I tell them is be consistent. Like you have to consistently keep doing this. Like we said in the beginning, that 90-10, it's got to be 90% of the time that you're doing the right things and make it to where you enjoy doing the right things. If you sit there and look and say, oh, I have to do this dumb diet. I hate that word. I didn't want to hear it.
No, you can't look at it that way.
Yeah, you have to do a lifelong transformation. Like I am going to change my habits. I am going to discover, like, I love foods like beef stroganoff. I had to say, okay, can I have creamy, rich, thick, sauce in my beef stroganoff? How can I still have this food that I love, I grew up with? How can I still have that and keep it healthy? So I would start finding, different websites. Like these two websites are amazing, Sandy's Kitchen and Stacey Hawkins. So they take like lots of foods and they make them lean and green. Okay. And they've broken it all down for you. It shows the food content, shows the ingredient list, shows how many calories, shows the fat content. And you can pick, she made that with Greek yogurt instead of cream sauce. And at first you're like, nah, no way. That can't be good. Then you try it. And then you're like, it's not so bad. Like the first time I made it, I messed up and I kind of curdled the Greek yogurt. And then I read some tips on how to make it better. And I did it the second time. Husband, the whole family, everyone's eating it. And I'm like, you like that? Pretty good. And it was like where that beef stroganoff, one serving would have been 750 calories. Now I got it down to 300 calories. Tastes like stroganoff. It's not real noodles. They're fake, not fake. They're like vegetable noodles, It's not real Alfredo or whatever, that creamy, heavy whipping cream. It's Greek yogurt with more protein. And I made some changes, but it's just changing and changing and changing. And then all of a sudden those changes they don't feel like, bad at all. They're like, oh, this is what I do.
Yeah. Just taking those baby steps.
Yeah. Little steps.
And if you're a guy like me, I mean, I was at the time, I'm like, I'll cook every day on the grill. And I could cook my entire day's everything on the grill.
Yeah.
Maybe some hard-boiled eggs and some toast or something in the morning. But at the time I wasn't eating any bread when I first dropped all that. I just stopped the carbs totally. And that was I think a big one too.
Yeah, if you're getting the right carbs, you want to get the right carbs. And when people you can stop them, but your body needs them. And I'm sure you get fruit and vegetables in. So you're getting some carbs there, but you're taking out the bread carbs, the bleached flours, the boring, lame white rice that doesn't do anything for you really. It's just filler foods.
And nothing but sourdough bread. I found that's a big big one.
It's good for
bread. Go to sourdough. It's so much better anyway.
You do have to check your label on the sourdoughs though, because some sourdoughs don't even have sourdough in them, but they sell them as sourdough.
Oh wow,
it's amazing.
Yeah, I want to make it. My friend's been making it. I haven't gotten a starter yet, but I think I'm going to do that soon. I haven't gotten there yet.
I had my girlfriend Carrie. It took her several months to get her trial and error for weeks and weeks, and then finally she got a sourdough starter that worked.
That's good.
And she made one loaf of it, and it was absolutely fantastic. And
so good.
But it does take. There's a lot of YouTube stuff
Yeah, it takes a lot.
Yeah, it is, but it's very easy, but it's
Yeah.
also very hard.
Once you get it to rise properly, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's pretty neat.
Yeah, for right now, I know people that are really good at it and they're friends, so I have some sourdough.
Yeah,
Perfect.
just get some of their starter.
Yeah, and she gave me a piece the other day as a starter, but then she said, "I don't know if it's gonna be good." She goes, "But you know what it is good for?" She goes, "Add this and make pancakes." And I did.
Ooh.
That
So
sounds
good.
Use sourdough starter and made pancakes out of it.
Uh-huh.
I was going to mention earlier when you were talking about, when you learn this food's bad, because we were doing this. Uh, oh shoot, what's it? It's the flour that doesn't have. I'm losing that word now.
Leaven?
yeast,
No, it's
gluten.
gluten. Thank you. I don't know why I
Okay.
couldn't think of gluten. Brain fog.
It's later,
So yeah, so it's a gluten-free flour that is supposedly really healthy, and then we find out it's full of glyphosate.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like, oh
okay.
crap, because my wife was making pizza out of it, we're making pancakes out of it, and it's like, okay, we just immediately stopped buying it,
Yeah.
and
We
finding
Americans
like
are Roundup ready.
we are Roundup ready for sure.
There's no weeds in our body.
True.
No,
True.
just PBAs and
Yeah, just a whole
plastics.
bunch of other junk. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah,
That's sad stuff too. Because
yeah,
you trust and food is, you want to get to the people, get through their food.
yeah, yeah. So
I mean,
true.
look at everyone right now going crazy for eggs.
Yeah,
Well, that's
You know?
resolving itself.
yeah. We did find a farmer down here, which I'm really happy. Just a few weeks ago, actually, my daughter up in Michigan found it because she's thinking about moving down here, but she's definitely on this train and definitely, trying to eat healthy all the time. She shops local farms up in Michigan, but that's hard because winter hits and
Yeah.
what's growing up there. So she found a company down here called Southwest Produce. I've tried it out. I got my first shipment a couple weeks ago. They don't All their farming's done pesticide free. They source from other farmers that are pesticide free for under
Nice.
$7. They deliver your food once a week, and the variety that they have and their everything that they offer is just amazing. So it's like, yes.
We have one here called Green
Mm-hmm.
Tomato, and I love it. I do once
Yeah.
a month
Yep.
delivery,
Mm-hmm.
and I do, just surprise me.
Oh,
So I get
okay. Whatever
whatever's
you got.
local. Yeah, it's really fun game.
Yeah.
Because then once I get it, I don't even know sometimes what I'm getting. Like I think there were turnips the other day that were like golden turnips. Never had
Oh,
that. But
yeah.
it makes me look them up and then look up new
Mm-hmm.
recipes and makes me try
Yeah,
new things.
that is fun when
Yeah.
you got
It's a lot of fun. When I get it, I make it like a big deal. I'm like, oh, green tomatoes bags. Let's see what we got. There's a lot of lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
Matters on what's going on. Some local citrus. You get it. Sweet potatoes, potatoes. It matters what's in season.
right.
But I'll get
Yeah.
like a spaghetti squash random. And then, so I just cut them all up, make different soups and stews, and have a good veggie medley as my side for, because I really try to get more lean and more green in all the foods I'm eating.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
What
I
does that
get that
cost you,
shipment
Jen?
in.
It's funny because I feel like we're spending less than we did at Sprouts. And I go to Sprouts and I look at the produce and I look at the fruit and I look at the greens. I do green drink smoothies a lot. So
Yeah.
I always look for whichever ones are like the freshest and most vibrant on the shelf. And sometimes I just look at them and I look like, man, they all look like they were picked
Nothing.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
they
They
were.
could have
And
been.
yeah.
They
You turn them
were.
over and they're all brown on the bottom.
They're
It's like
from another country. They've been shipped here. And as each day as they're shipping, they're losing their like strength.
vibrancy and nutrients.
Yes.
Yes.
And they spray them with like phosgene gas or something, so they stop
Well,
the ripening process.
everything in the
Yeah.
grocery store has to be sprayed before it goes into the grocery store. So that's another thing. None of this is sprayed. The
Yeah.
apples don't have wax on them. Everything
Yeah.
tastes fresh and it tastes good. It's such a huge difference.
Yeah, I love it. This girl opened it over here. She's been great. She delivers, and she also is connected with a few other like local restaurants and bakers that use no seed oils, things like that. So you can click in and they'll pick it up for you. So they'll go to the Wynwood area, which is great. It's busy as heck, and there's a few really nice bakers there and artists, food artists, I'd say what you call them. And you can get some of those put in your bag too. And you didn't have to Uber it to your house. You didn't, and it comes with that delivery. You know, she also has eggs. I mean, she has so many things. At first it was just local produce from local farmers. And now she's added in a really great business, doing well.
That's what this woman does as well. Eggs,
I will
bread,
do it
olives
till the end. I will keep supporting her because I love what she's doing and how she's bringing small businesses together, small farms. I went to a dinner the other day. It was over 200 local Florida farmers.
Excellent.
They did at the Vizcaya place to just, you know, congratulate them for farming and organically farming as well. And it was just such a neat place to be and conversations to be in because there's so many different people there. Like, I'm a guava specialist, you know, that's all he grows. And another, I'm a beekeeper, I'm a pollinator. And I was like, I'm just so happy that my pain brought me to this purpose, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
have you heard of have you heard of Seed to Table in Naples?
Yes, it's so cool.
Yeah, it is cool. I was listening to a Rogan podcast recently, and a guy from the Miami area was talking about knowing the owner of that, and the guy took him on a helicopter and showed him all his crops. None of it is grown with pesticides.
Wow.
Yeah. And it gets picked that morning at 9 a.m. and it gets to the grocery stores. So you can actually, in the afternoon, eat a strawberry that was growing that morning. I mean, how cool is that?
That's cool.
Yeah, well, I think it's fortuitous for you that you had this transformation at this time because, you know, after COVID, the veil was lifted off the just the craziness of big medicine and big pharma. And less and less people are going that way, and more people are coming to much healthier ways.
Yeah.
And so I just know that with your attitude and what you got rolling, this is just going to continue to grow for you. It's really perfect.
Yeah, I really am happy. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm really happy I did it. I love being able to help others. I love being able to give like a little beacon of light. Like, you're gonna get through this. Like, it's gonna get better, but you got to do the work. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, make it all easy for you. Like, you got to do the work. Like, I struggled in the beginning, and it was hard. And you're gonna go through different changes. What I used in the beginning is not what I used in the middle of my journey and what I used near the end. Like, as you're changing, your metabolism changes, your body changes, you got to change with it. You got to, just like, you know, working out, the ideas of progressive overload, specificity, that type of stuff. You got to do the same thing with your food. You know, you can't just eat the same exact thing over and over. Like, I love to eat the rainbow because of what it does for my body inside and my gut.
Yeah.
And after a couple of months, you just don't want that anymore
because it doesn't feel good.
You don't want to. You don't even think about macaroni and cheese in their orange poison packets, and the rice-a-ronis and the noodles in the bag with the powdery poison. Everything, all those powdery things, they actually will flame on. You do not want to eat that stuff.
They will flame on.
It does. It's flammable. Half of it's made with petroleum, and but like I said, more people are moving to the health and wellness.
Yeah.
And, it's too bad everybody doesn't, but then we've talked about how that would cause its own problems. And
it's true. It's true. It's hard because, you know, you look at people you love and you're hoping they'll change and they don't. And you can only do so much, you know, you can only do so much. I have a sister and I
catch on.
I love her dearly, but she's had gastric bypass twice, you know, and never did she decide to do like the counseling that goes with it, you know, to help you not overeat, to see why you had gotten to these levels. Like, she was dangerously unhealthy, you know, 300 and above at 5'2". And I mean, she lost all the weight, but didn't change a lot of the things. So she would just eat less of some of the bad foods. So it wrecked her stomach inside, and it hurts to see her go through all this. And I'm thinking, you know, I worked with her a few times and she'll change some of it, but she's like, oh, come on. I mean, I can't have this. And I'm like, well, what do you want? Do you want to keep getting, you know, fistulas? Do you want to have another, you know, issue with your stomach? Do you want to get rerouted in your intestines again? Just so you can have some soda?
What do you need? What does it take? What kind of wake-up call does it take?
I don't know.
I mean, before someone just doesn't want to just.
But sometimes, like you're saying, like sometimes you need therapy to go get over these triggers, because I mean, these foods and these drinks are producing dopamine responses.
Yeah.
They're created that way.
Yeah.
So if you're getting that from your food where you're not getting it from any other place in your life, you're going to go back to those foods.
That's so true. And that's why big food is almost as evil as big pharma.
Yeah.
And you probably know this, Michelle, and we've talked about this before, that when the tobacco companies got slammed and they had to pay all their money and their fines, they decided to go buy big food. They used their same nicotine addiction scientists. The same guys went to big conspiracy theory. This is actual documented fact.
Use their scientists to produce food that was addictive.
So they just took that addiction science from nicotine, from cigarettes, to the cereal aisle for our 12-year-olds.
That's crazy.
So I was thinking when they come down on them, I was trying to figure out what industry they would go into next when they come down on them for the food. Yeah. And I'm thinking they'll probably go into pet food because people spend so much on their pets, but a lot of times we don't look into what's in the dog food. You know, when all that
I think they are starting to do that because there's a lot of these natural pet foods being sold now and services.
Yeah.
So and it's showing that dogs are living like 4 or 5 years longer from not eating the dry kibble.
Yeah, absolutely.
But speaking of which, we got a couple of guys. They've been on with us twice. They're dog food guys from Montreal. They're like twin brothers, Marcel and
Maximo.
And they make dog food
and high-end custom dog food and they deliver locally in the Montreal area. And they're super cool guys. And
I bet
it's really fun to talk to those guys about dogs.
That's good stuff. It is.
Well, hey, thank you so much for taking your time to be with us on the show.
Thank you.
If somebody is in your area and they want to reach out for your services, how do they get a hold of you?
If they look on Mindful Movements for Life, that is my website name.
Okay.
And if they were to go into Instagram or Facebook, they could find it as well through the website name or from Michell Llovet.
Perfect.
And send me a message.
L-O-V.
L-L-O-V-E-T.
2 L's.
Love
it.
2
L's. Yeah, love it.
Love it.
I married him for the name.
Smart.
There you go.
And it's actually Llovet in Spanish.
Oh.
Because it's the double L.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought it was Spanish.
Yeah, no, I know. It's
I thought it was
from
French.
the side that's close to France. So it has a more French influence by the Catalan part of Spain. So it's got a Llovet. It's very pretty. Both ways, it's very pretty.
It is, yes.
Well, I wish you much success, Michelle. It was great hanging out with you.
Likewise.
Same here.
Yeah,
Same here. You guys are great. Keep doing what you're doing.
So if you just listen to this podcast and you appreciate the content and the work that we're doing, we would love your support. Look in the comment section of this episode. Subscribe, rate us, comment. This gets our podcast in front of other listeners. And if you noticed, we don't have advertisers. For the cost of a cup of coffee, you can help keep it this way. Become a supporter right now. We'd appreciate it. I'm Jim the Yogi.
I'm Rick the BeachMan.